basically learn how to connect your device, whether it be an iPhone, iPad, to your Mac and fire up Xcode. And so that's what I'm going to show you how to do it tonight. And so you can share your apps once you learn how to do this tonight with your friends, family, things of that nature. The only thing that I need, which some of you have already given me all yours, hopefully, is the UDID of those folks in your family or friends that you might be doing this with. Now you do, like I said, what you do need is to do this tonight, Xcode running, and you have to have that device connected to your Mac via the Thunderbolt port, and that's it. We'll download a profile, have you log in with your credentials, and sync your Xcode environment with your username on the developer account. And I believe I've got everybody's developer account intact. You accepted all those, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll take care of all those issues if we have any as we come around, though. So let's go and get started with some notes here. On the 21st of this month, there is a Cocoa Heads meeting, actually the first one of the semester. It's generally the third Wednesday of the month, and Cocoa Heads is a group that I'm basically just advising, that we have anywhere from 6 to 12 that show up for the meetings, and it's a originally started, it's an international group that a lot of universities have, that's anything basically Apple related, but it's kind of morphed to any type of topics that students want to talk about. They kind of pick a topic and then discuss it. We meet on 6 to 7, the third Wednesday of the month. I buy pizza. You guys just show up and we talk about whatever it is you want to talk about for an hour. And so this will be the first one. I'm going to be bringing a lot of, I'll be bringing the new watch, Apple Watch. I'll be bringing iOS 9. We'll talk about that, some of the upgrades to that. And those two things for sure we'll be talking about. And then we'll be citing for November, December, what everyone would like to talk about. We're also going to try in December to have a group trip to Chicago to the Apple Store. At the top floor of the Apple Store, Michigan Avenue, is a real cool meeting room that overlooks Michigan Avenue. That has anybody been there before, by the way? The Michigan Avenue store, the Apple Michigan Avenue store. Well, it's kind of cool. Most people don't know what's there. They have an elevator in the back of the store that goes all the way up to the upper level, and they got this huge mahogany table with like 20 chairs and flat screens. You can port your use AirPlay and put your iPads on all of them. But they also have a garden that overlooks from the window. But anyway, I'm scheduling it right now, seeing what days are available. More than likely, it's going to be, I'm guessing, on a Saturday instead of through the week. And so what we did last time was we met here on like a Saturday at like 8 in the morning, and we were back at like 5:36 that evening. We took a Rock Valley College bus and went to right downtown Chicago one time. The other time we just drove to Cumberland and took the L in. So we'll decide what you want to do. I think if you've never been on the L or it's been a while, it's kind of a cool trip to do that. It goes right to about a couple blocks from the Apple Store. And so you kind of get to see the inner workings of an Apple Store. So we'll be talking about that in the meeting as well.
I went to the Apple Orchard this week.
You did? I love the Apple Orchard. I haven't got the chance to go yet.
No,
Did you get any donuts?
Yeah.
And cider? Awesome. Well, Rockford Cocoa Heads is the site, .com, rockfordcocoaheads.com. The Facebook page, you can like it, and we'll be updating that. Apple News, instead of apps this week, I thought we would talk about just some Apple stuff going on. Before Jobs passed away, about 2 months before, he went to the city council in Cupertino and put together with architectures plan for the new Mecca for Apple. And so I thought you'd get a kick out of the, this is actually in process right now. The site for the store is called notanotherbox.com. So I'll show it to you real quick. So this is a box. So is this. Boxes contain things. Boxes contain people too. And then this is what the outside of the Mecca is going to look like. This is some of the walkways, what they're calling it Central and Wolf Campus. Right now it's called Apple One Way, I believe. This is going into the building. That's what it looks from an aerial view. A lot of open space, all glass around the entire, like five or six levels, I believe it is. So they're actually in process right now of breaking ground. It's the old HP campus that they're building on in Cupertino. What I think would be cool is when they get finished with it to take whatever students are here at that time and head out to Cupertino and see the new building and walk through and see the R&D that they have, what's coming up. They have about 15 years of R&D. They don't show anybody, but they sometimes will let you walk by the door where the R&D is. And so, but anyway, thought you'd get a kick out of that. Notanotherbox.com is the new campus, going to be the new campus for Apple. Prereq for tonight is basically just needing a GitHub account. Week 6 in class for sure, you got to have that. Here, I'll go through each one of these, starting with the top, certificates. I come around tonight. When we fire up XCode and I have you guys log in, if a certificate's not already out here for you, which a number of you don't have one, I don't expect you to, XCode will create one for you. And we'll just kind of show you how that works as I walk around. So you'll see I have 4 or 5 in there, a couple from last semester. And so basically a certificate's used to develop, for developer to develop on Mac platforms. When I come around tonight, a number of you, when you don't have a certificate, it'll say, do you want to create one? Yes. It'll send it to here in the pending area, and then I'll have to accept it. And so I'll bring my MacBook around the class when we do this tonight. But what the nice thing about certificates is once you create one, like you'll notice I have one here I use for developer right here, this Charlie Conkle. I can use it on every Mac I go to. I don't have to create one for every Mac I'm on. So that's certificates. Next is identifiers. Identifiers are Apple's way to identify every app on the App Store. Now, we're not publishing any apps to the App Store. We can't as an educational facility. So the apps I created are the app IDs I created in here are basically pretty generic. Like the one we use in here for tonight's as we go around, it'll grab onto this RVC apps one at the bottom. Because if you'll notice, that's the one I have you guys type in on all the apps for the identifier, edu.rockvalley College. You type that in many times. So I created an app ID for that. And so as I come around tonight, we'll have to join that team, our team. It'll suck down the identifier for the app. So that's what that is. Now, when you get ready to publish something to the App Store, we'll say forward fast, you get your own account on Apple as a developer. You have to create your own unique ID for every app on the App Store. And so if I created an app called ABC, it'd have to be a unique ID in here for that to work, or Apple won't accept it. And so the next is, so we went through certificates, identifiers, next go to devices. You'll notice a lot of new devices in here. Well, one new device is the Apple TV, but you can now as a developer within XCode, there is a simulator for an Apple TV. that you can now create apps for an Apple TV, because up to this point you got whatever you got, right, on the Apple TV. But you'll notice Apple TV's in there, Apple Watch, iPad, iPhone, iPod Touch. Just to show you some of the devices that are in here. We have a number of devices, and I generally keep, if you add your device in here, like this semester, your personal device, I don't take it out, because there might be a time to where when you leave the class, you're going to have some apps on your device you created, or somebody in here created, or I gave you, and those apps will only run if Apple sees that you're in this list of iOS devices. And so all it is basically is that UDID I had you guys give me. I have to put it in here, and then once it's in there until I take it out. And I generally don't take it out unless a student tells me to take it out, because I have a number of, I think I have 200 and some available that I can add into this. So all of these are just from your UDID, and that has to be in there as well. So far we talked about certificate, you got to have that. Identifier, you got to have that. Your device has to be added. Your personal devices, or people you're testing your app devices, have to be in here. Then lastly, that brings us to provisions. And the way XCode works is it will update, like tonight when we get new certificates added, maybe as we go around, if you haven't already added one, which a number of you haven't, most of you haven't, it'll actually put in there in the provisioning profiles, it'll update it. You'll notice it says here, managed by XCode on all of these. And I'll try to, now the way it works is, it doesn't matter if I go into XCode first or you go into XCode first. Whoever's on the team goes into XCode that next time. When you go into preferences in XCode, we'll do in a second, it'll generate the new profile with all the new certificates, any new devices, and then it'll update the expiration date from a year from that date currently. So we'll get an update tonight from, whatever our date is here. It'll be October 5th, 2016 is what the new provisioning profile will be for that. And every app has to have a provisioning profile in order to port it to your device. So prereqs to port to your device are certificate. You as a developer have to have a certificate to create it. You don't have to have a certificate. That person doesn't have a certificate here to put it on their device. All they have to have is that their UDID in the devices area. That's all.